Good morning everyone and welcome back to Madeira. We are here for day 2 of the World Paraswimming Championships 2022. There you see the scene this morning on the hillside of the capital of the island, Funchal. And there we see the Pintada Olympic swimming pool complex on the side of the hill. And there is the inside of the pool as we stand this morning. Beautiful island here in Madeira, and the teams have been enjoying the delights of the island for the last few days. Some of the sights of the beautiful island of Madeira here in the Atlantic Ocean. We are ready for day 2 of competition. We crowned 27 new world champions yesterday, and this morning on this day 2 of heats, it's heats all the way, so no medals to present this morning, but all the swimmers will be trying to qualify for one of those finals this evening. I'm Paul Noble. I'll be taking you through the action today, joined as ever by Liz Johnson in the commentary position. There's the programme, Liz.
Yeah, it's another exciting programme. We've got some individual medleys, 100 freestyles, lots of individual medleys and 100 backstroke today. We can never really decide what to call it, can we? But the SM10s, the SS6 for 100 freestyles, the S800 backstrokes. Then we'll go on to the S14 100 metres backstrokes. We've got SB 1300 metres breaststroke, and then more medleys and a relay to finish, Paul. Mixed 4x50 freestyle, 20 points. That's the first relay we've got of these championships. Everybody loves a relay.
Well, you certainly do, Liz. You've been looking forward to these relays ever since we arrived here in Madeira. And, you know, that's another thing. We are here in venue. First time in a couple of years we've actually been at a major championship, and it's been great so far, hasn't it? Yeah,
it's really nice to get to see the crowds, the families, the friends that come to support. We know them well. We've been around the circuit for a long time. It's great to see the coaches and the athletes. And one thing that we've got this time that we've never had before is the call room camera. And it's so nice to be able to see the athletes preparing and give you a taste at home of what that looks like. Because as athletes, we know, but every event, every heat, every classification, every group of competitors has a different atmosphere in their call room. Mine was always quite jolly. We all got on really well.
Well, you always had your teammates beside you, didn't you, really? Because you, as a Great Britain swimmer, Great Britain were quite strong in your classification. You always had kind of a friendly face, didn't you?
It is true. Throughout my entire career, I don't think I ever had to go to the call room by myself. So, yeah, pretty cool. And it does help, but over time these people become friends and actually look forward to seeing each other. And I know that they bring gifts from like their relevant countries, so we all swap things.
Some of the teams are also in the stand, and there's some of these custom-made T-shirts behind every swimmer who believes themselves, and one who believed in her first. Well, I think we can all relate to that, Liz.
Yeah, I think everybody agrees that they would never get to this point where they can stand on that block if it wasn't for the team of people that support them to get them there, whether that's taking them to their first swimming lesson or fixing their bodies when they've got a bit of pain, or just being that person, like you said, like your teammates sometimes that can relate to you when maybe some of your other friends that don't do sport can't.
So some of the teams in the stands, as we can see. Again, we saw a range of classifications yesterday. We'll see a range of classifications today. S1 to 10, those are the physical impairment. S11 to 13, those are visual impairments. And S14, those are intellectual impairments. We start this morning with the S4 classification. So, as I said, 1 to 10 for those with physical impairments, with 1 being the most impaired and the 10 being the least impaired. So This is kind of towards the lower end. So typically these athletes will have reduced function. Well, it's a range. It's very difficult to kind of categorize, isn't it, Liz? Because there's a range of functional impairments for these athletes.
Yeah, you'll get some athletes who have a very specific cut-off point of their feeling or their function. But I guess even then, even if they do have limbs that technically have full function, because of the range of movement that's limited over the rest of their body, it then impacts how they're able to move in the water. So you will see a range of impairments when you look at the screen, but the important thing to note is that all the athletes have been determined to have a similar level of function in the water.
There's Lydia Vera da Cruz, who goes in at lane number 5. One of 2 Brazilians in this heat. Well, we have had a withdrawal, which means, well, what does that mean? There are 8 swimmers just taking the start. So all 8 swimmers, if there are no disqualifications, should progress to the final. So I've taken the decision to swim this heat. In fact, it looks like there's more than one swimmer missing, Liz. So that's quite a range of swimmers missing here. Oh, in fact, they're going in from the side, so we might be all right. I'm just looking at the blocks there, and the swimmers that were actually in the water already, but some going in from the side.
In your defence, we can't see that side of the pool from where we're sat,
No, we
so we'll let you off.
There's the world record holder, Tanya Schultz, and she's a relative newcomer to Paralympic sport. She had a riding accident a couple of years ago, which has caused her impairment, and she has really taken the Paralympic swimming world by storm in the last year or so, hasn't she?
Yeah, this will be the first time that some of these athletes will have had the opportunity to race Tanya Schultz, and it's very different looking at a name and a time on the world rankings and then actually being in the same pool, in the same heat as them. So it's exciting to see what these athletes will go this morning, but as you said, Paul, as there's only 8 into this, they don't need to do anything other than manage to get through 100 freestyle without breaking any rules to progress to the final.
I'll see if anyone wants to make a statement in the heats this morning. Tanya Schultz has been breaking records all year. First saw her at the World Para Swimming Series in Aberdeen in the UK, where she broke a couple of world records. She followed that up in her home World Para Series in Berlin. Again, she was in record-breaking form. So one swimmer going from the block. As we look at the pool there, you'll have lane 0 right at the top, right down to lane 9 at the bottom, but it is Jordan Tucker in lane number 8 who had the start from the dive.
Yeah, and Lydia Vieira da Cruz. There's lots of yellow hats. 2 of them closest to us belong to the Brazilians, and it was Vieira da Cruz that got off to a very good start. But there you can already see that Tanya Schultz is coming through powerfully. You can see the difference. We talked about how differently athletes were impacted in this classification group, and you can see there that Tanya's hands are flat to the water. She managed to get her whole arm to pull through, whereas Lydia Vieira da Cruz, her fingers don't open fully, so they're sort of swimming with a different paddle. And you can see actually Tanya's got her left hand seems to be slightly stronger than her right, but she's got a very high stroke rate as well, and she's managing to stay high because she can pull like that. Then she manages to keep higher in the water, which creates less resistance, and she's going very, very well, and she's closely followed by the 2 Brazilians and that other yellow hat belonging to Australia's Rachel Watson.
And of course, in terms of her impairment, Tanya Schultz, pretty good time there, 1:21.28. It's a championship record, in fact, for Tanya Schultz. Excellent swim there, but she maybe kind of has to go that speed because you just sink down in the water if she tries to slow down too much.
Yeah, absolutely. In freestyle, typically you would rely on your leg kick to keep you balanced, to keep that height, and if you don't have that, then you can't afford to stop that spin because you will lose the levels in the water that you have, and then you, like you said, you start to drop and then your legs start to drag, which we do see from some of the other athletes, but it's because they don't have the the rate to keep that body high.
Jordan Tucker is going to be the final swimmer to finish. She comes in there. Lydia Vera de Cruz and Patricia Pereira dos Santos were second and third. Fadi Sonia Sigurdardóttir, the Icelandic swimmer, experienced Icelandic swimmer, coming in there right at the top of your picture in line number 0. But an impressive swim from Tanja Schultz. There it is. And of course she's coached and mentored by Kirsten Brun, the great German champion of around about a decade or so ago.
Yeah, and Kirsten Brun had a similar impairment, not to the same severity that Tanja Schultz has got, but it means that she can pass on a lot of tips. And Kirsten Brun was known for that high stroke rate as well, and that's how she combated the leg drag that existed. And we can see that Schultz is doing the same, and it's paying off.
So, nice start to the morning's action. Tanja Schultz, the world record holder, just a couple of seconds outside her own world record, exactly 2 seconds in fact, but she takes it in a new championship record ahead of the 2 Brazilians, and those top 8 there will progress to the final this evening. So, a nice start to the morning with a championship record.
These swimmers, they set the bar high, don't they? Give us lots to get excited about.
Tanja Schultz has been rewriting the record books this year. The German team have unearthed a good one there with Tanja Schultz. And you sometimes find that in Paralympic sport as well, don't you? People who acquire their injuries suddenly appear on the Paralympic programme. And, you know, as Paralympic athletes, we kind of come to expect that from time to time.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest differences between parasport and non-parasport, is that most athletes in non-parasport have a good idea of who they're going to be racing in each cycle. Youngsters might come through and progress, but rarely do you get a brand new athlete that you've never heard of before. But of course, that's the nature of parasport, and it does keep things moving, it keeps things challenging, and it's exciting for the sport.
Well, the men's 150 metres individual medley are the next to appear. 2 heats of this one. We saw some of these swimmers swim in the 50 breaststroke yesterday. We've quite a number of repeat swimmers this morning, Liz. People who swam yesterday, medal winners like Grant Patterson of Australia. He goes in lane 4, took the silver medal yesterday. And he's got a decent record in this event. He was a bronze medalist at the World Championships last time out in 2019. Bronze medalist in the Tokyo Paralympics last year. And over the 2 heats, big representation from Mexico. And there's the Egyptian who goes in line number 2, Youssef El Said. There's Grant Patterson in the centre of the 5 swimmers in this first heat of the 150 metres individual medley in the SM3 classification. So again, it's swimmers with a quite high level of impairment. And some of the swimmers, most of the swimmers actually, held in position by their coaches. And that's kind of a technique which has been around for a while now, Liz, but you know, it started somewhere. Some coach somewhere said, right, rather than holding my swimmer up against the wall, can we hold the swimmer with his feet against the wall? And he's immediately in a good position to start the backstroke. And it's these kind of innovations that you quite often see at the big championships.
Yeah, and you're always looking for, you know, the small gains. And we saw there Grant Patterson, he has a starting device because he has very short limbs, and so he wouldn't reach the natural bar that's at the bottom of the starting block. And that is allowed as long as the starting techniques, starting devices don't give you an advantage over your competitors. They have to be signed off by the classifiers by the technical officials here at the meet. And every time you go to a meet, at the start of the meet, you have to submit your equipment for it to be signed off, so that it doesn't have to necessarily get checked every race, but they mark it so they know what you're using. And it does help, because a lot of athletes would use so much energy trying to hold on to that starting block, or trying to make sure that they didn't leave the touchpad early, that it would be almost like an extra discipline within the event. But we can see there's Zarate Rodriguez going well down that backstroke leg. Of course, with any individual medley, the different strokes play out. And in the SM category, it's a mix of your classifications from your S strokes, which is your freestyle, your backstroke, and your butterfly. Not butterfly in the 150 medley, but it does apply to the 200 meters medleys as you go from SM5 and upwards. And then the SB category, which is for breaststroke specifically. And here you can see Grant Patterson, who would probably class himself as a breaststroker. His breaststroke, one of his main events, doing very well coming up here. And you can see the different styles of stroke, with Zarate Rodriguez not breathing every stroke. And when he does breathe, we've seen this with some other athletes, breathing to the side to try and keep his body as flat as possible to minimize the resistance that he creates. Because typically you would come up and your chest would then block the water, but typically you would have a leg kick that propelled you. But you can see here that the Mexican doesn't have any use of his legs, and he's pulling through with just his arms. But Grant Patterson here has made the most of his speciality breaststroke leg as they turn into the final length, which will be the freestyle.
Yeah, he's turned a 2-second deficit into something like a 5-second advantage there on the breaststroke. So really using that breaststroke to great advantage there. Good breaststroke leg from the Italian, Emmanuel Marigliano. Just one line up from Grant Patterson. And Grant Patterson working really, really hard there with that one good arm that he has. He's almost doing side stroke there as he goes up with 25 meters to go. And the Mexican Zarate Rodriguez trying to make some inroads to that, but I think Grant Patterson really keeping up that high tempo as he comes past us in the commentary position with just 10 meters to go to the final wall at the end of this 150 meters individual medley. Stretching the lead all the time. A very good second 2/3 of this 150 meters individual medley for Grant Patterson of Australia.
Yeah, Scooter Patterson, we heard some Australian cheers there, and he'd be really happy with that. And he's got quite an innovative stroke, and you see that, we see it at the start, but he actually, that one arm comes over, but under the water, he's using the other one to, in a typical sculling motion, but to propel him forward so that he can maximize the speed that he can produce and the power that he can produce.
It's all about making the most of what he has, trying to minimize that impairment in the water. And he does a good job, Grant Patterson. 3:12.54 for the Australian. The advantage was, well, 10 seconds in the end, ahead of Zarate Rodriguez. Marigliano in third place. And Youssef El Said coming in, final swimmer to finish. Experienced Ioannis Kostakis finished in fourth position. He's been a medalist on the world stage before. Youssef El Said into the wall. And Patterson, I think, will be pleased with that. Just 6 swimmers in the second heat, so with the fastest 8 to progress to the final. If the result is confirmed, Patterson and Zarate Rodriguez will be guaranteed a place in that final tonight.
Yeah, individual medleys always take a bit longer for the results to be confirmed, because obviously the skills and the compliance of 3 to 4 strokes, 3 in the 150 meters, 4 in the 200 meters, have to be checked, confirmed and ticked off, but there are the results.
Grant Patterson confirmed as the winner of that first heat, ahead of Zarate Rodriguez and Marigliano in second position. Kostakis certainly in with a shout at making that final. I said with just 6 swimmers in this second heat. Another 2 Mexicans in this second heat of the 150 meters individual medley. They'll be 2 of the biggest threats to Grant Patterson from that first heat. Jesus Hernandez, medalist yesterday in the breaststroke. Diego Lopez Diaz, a world champion from 2019. Hernandez, Paralympic champion last year. Almost regarded as the favourite, Hernandez for that 150 metres individual medley. Favourite tag probably went to his teammate Diego Lopez Diaz. In fact, no swimmer in lane number 5, so no Lopez Diaz, no Daniel Ferrer Robles in 6, so just 4 swimmers in this one, Liz.
Yeah, we can see the best start coming from Josiah Toff in terms of the ability he has to get off and up, and he has one leg that he uses to try and maximize the speed that he can gain underwater, because he knows that once they're up and into the stroke, that's when Jesus Hernandez will start to come flying through. And there we can see already it is the Mexican that has forged his way to the front of the pack, and we're just coming up to the back to breast turn here, and Hernandez will go in first. He goes in a time of 47.43, and Josiah Toff turns second, just 5.8 seconds behind as they go on to the breaststroke. And again, you can see the different styles there. Hernandez, no function in the lower half of his body. You can see that it's all drive from just the shoulders up, really. So he's got a bit of drag to contend with from hit the lower half of his body, and he's again trying to keep his head flat, breathing every other stroke, not like we saw in the previous heat with his compatriot Marcos Zarate Rodriguez. He was breathing to the side, and again, athletes try things, some things work, some things don't, and it's all about doing what works for you. We talk about in some of the maybe distance freestyle races not getting stuck into someone else's tactics, and it's the same when you're developing your strokes in different classifications, because most para swimmers don't have textbook strokes. Textbooks don't, the way they teach that isn't going to work for you to maximize your speed and your power. And you can again get sucked into looking at someone who swims, who looks like you or swims a bit like you, and trying to copy what they do. But it's all about working with your team to figure out what works best for you so that you can maximize your performance. And we saw as he spun around the wall then, and he's off and up into that single arm freestyle. Now this is like Zarate Rodriguez swam in the previous heat, and we can see him with just that one arm pull, breathe into the same side of the arm that he uses, going very strongly here down into the closing stages. There's no doubt about who's going to take this heat. Toff of Germany still going very well. He's got more of a fly kick on his side for his freestyle that he uses to propel his body through the water. He's in lane 3, and then a great underwater shot there. You can see how that arm is pulling as much water as possible. It's a very long stroke as we come in under the flags to take this second heat.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, Hernandez there. Well, the left arm almost as a stabilizer under his body there. All the power coming from that right arm. Thumbs up for Jesus Hernandez, and that is a pretty good time. 3 minutes, 0.13. Josiah Toff clear in second position. As you said, Liz, it's almost the advantage of Josiah Toff is really on the kind of dolphin strokes. He can use that dolphin kick, butterflies, very good butterfly swimmer, very good backstroke swimmer as well. Breaststroke is where he lost the ground really to Hernandez.
Yeah, we can see here as well, going very well at Chaco and Kursi of Thailand, with a similar stroke to Toff actually. And the reason the breaststroke is difficult because they have one dominant leg. So then on breaststroke you really want to swing out and whip in, but if you've only got one leg to do that with and nothing to stabilize you, you have to be very careful, otherwise you would just swim off into the lane rope, which is why we see them excel on the dolphin kick strokes really.
And you've got to be careful as well with the breaststroke, because breaststroke very technical. We see most disqualifications on the breaststroke. We saw one yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah, and specifically again for these athletes that have that one dominant leg. And we can just see now coming in to finish up in lane 7. He'll bring home the race. It is Lopez Fernandez of Dominican Republic. And so we've got a great diversity. There's 59 different countries at these World Para Swimming Championships. I think. I've said that. I've gone with it. It is true, Paul.
Yeah, it was
you
advertised.
Look like you're
it was
questioning me.
advertised.
You look like you're questioning me.
I always look like this.
True. But yeah, and it's great to see. And again, there would have been there's a couple of athletes from Dominica, and it's great to see para swimming growing around the world.
Yeah, Lopez Fernandez. I've seen him on the world stage before, back in Mexico in 2017. He's here for his second world championships here. Didn't see the time register for Lopez Fernandez. Can't tell you how he's done with that one, but it's a very good start by Josiah Top from Germany. When they got on to the breaststroke though, Paralympic champion Jesus Hernandez stretched away from the field, and he consolidated that lead on the freestyle just over the 3-minute mark. An excellent time for him. He's top of the world rankings this year with 2:56. I wonder if he's going to try and challenge that world record held by Chinese swimmer Wenpang Huan, set back in Rio in 2016. That is a very, very tough 240.19. So I'm examining some of the results here. Technical officials in the glass box right below us in the commentary position. We've got some great officials that have been with us for many years, very experienced team of technical officials. The timing guys as well, those red t-shirts, number of volunteers as well. I think we are going to have the result now. So two swimmers who did not start that race, but we do have confirmed results for the top 4. Jesus Hernandez takes that 3:13 is confirmed, ahead of Germany's Josiah Top and Charkon Kaisri from Thailand in 3rd. So I think those swimmers be safe enough to progress to the final. I think Lopez Fernandez is just going to miss out in 9th position. Yeah, there's confirmation. Youssef El Said takes that final 8th place. Hernandez will lead the qualifiers into the final. Grant Patterson, expect him to go a little bit faster tonight. And the young German, Josiah Top, might have a chance for a world medal. So back to the other end of the pool now. 2 lengths of the pool for the men's 100 freestyle S6. Two lengths of the pool. 2 heats. First heat sees Nelson Crispin. Great record that he has in this event. He's a world champion last time out in 2019. Also took the title in 2015 and 2013 as well. So triple world champion in this event. Nelson Crispin. Laurent Chardal of France in lane number 5. Gets off the block well. Nelson Crispin again. Difference of impairments. Nelson Crispin, short stature athlete. Laurent Chardal, an amputee, arm and leg on the same side of the body, Liz.
Yeah, and you can see that from that brilliant front shot there, the difference in stroke. So Chardal goes for that long, strong pull with the one arm to maximise the distance per stroke, whereas Nelson Crispin has to have that high stroke rate to make sure there's no pause going on. And then Daniel Xavier Mendes of Brazil, he's got a different impairment again, in that he's very arm dominant. He doesn't have use of the lower part of his body. And this is where you see actually the classification system. You don't have to have the same disability for it to apply and give you a fair go at maximising your function. And it's playing out pretty well here. And Lauren Chardad breathing towards Nelson Crispin, just ahead with that strong left arm pull.
Well, what an impressive second 50 there for Lauren Chardad of France, 105.86. Excellent swim there. Good swim from Daniel Javier Mendes as well. The young Brazilian making his debut at a major championships, but all smiles from Lauren Chardad. That was excellent, wasn't it?
Yeah, and so often we see the athletes who have the limbs on the same side get caught on that second 50, but not today, not this morning for Lauren Chardad. He looks pleased with that. He looks like he can't wait to get out, go swim down and get ready for the final. He looks like he wants to go again. That's the sign of a swimmer swimming with confidence.
Interesting story about his impairment as well. 2016, victim of a shark attack in Réunion, one of the French islands. Lauren Chardad swam excellently in the World Championships in 2019, the good European Championships. He was disappointed with his performance in Tokyo in 2021, but he's coming back and looked really strong there in that 100 freestyle. That was excellent from Lauren Chardad of France. Daniel Xavier Mendes as well in second position in 106.76. That's an improvement for the 20-year-old. And the world champion down in third, but you would expect Nelson Crispin's got a little bit more to give in the final. Very experienced campaigner, Nelson Crispin.
Yeah, and we've talked about how each athlete comes in and has to take into consideration their entire program. Nelson Crispin is somebody who tends to have a heavy multi-event program. He will have known what he needed to do to get into the final, to give himself a shot, and he'll have more to give this evening.
So as you can see, one swimmer missing from this second heat. First heat set quite a decent standard there. Leo McRae from Switzerland, Ties van Hofwegen from the Netherlands, Antonio Fantin, the world record holder from Italy, Juan Jose Gutierrez Bermudez, the younger of the two Gutierrez Bermudez brothers, and Ben Sivan from Hungary, right down in lane number 7. Very good start there. Lane number 3, Ties van Hofwegen leading the world record holder Fantin, but Fantin showing his power in that blue cap of Italy as they come to the turn.
Yeah, Antonio Fantin started in the water. Ties van Hofwegen making the most of his dive, and we can see he got a bit of a push off the turn there that kept him ahead of Fantin just for a little bit longer, but it is now that high stroke turnover that we see from Fantin. That is his trademark, really, that high elbow, not a lot of stretch forward, he's just straight in and pulls straight through, and that's often what makes the difference between him and his colleagues that he's racing in those tight finishes. He's looking very, very good here this morning.
He's looking excellent. Just keep a close eye on that clock. Just easing back as he comes in, but that was not far away from the world record mark at all. Championship record for Antonio Fantin, and he just seemed to...
Yeah, he did the equivalent there of rolling into the finish, didn't he? You could see there. He got to the red marker that signifies 5 meters to go, just the flags hanging over it when you're doing backstroke, so you can see, and he visibly slowed down. So if I was that world record, I'd be worried later. He swam phenomenally well at the Paralympic Games. He was in world record breaking form then. He had a good year last year, actually broke the world record a number of times, and I think when you've got a stroke like he has, the more improvement you make in terms of the speed that you can throw those arms over. He's got the power, he's got the stroke length, he gets hold of the water, you're always going to make those gains.
He kind of made his name as more of a distance freestyler, 200 and 400, but he's gone on to dominate all the freestyle events in this classification. Antonio Fantine championship record there, 104.08, taking almost a second off the mark held by Nelson Crispin. And he looks in great form as he progresses into that final there. The qualifiers. Antonio Fantine leads the way. Great swim from Laurent Chardard from France to qualify in second. The young Brazilian in third. The world champion from 2019 in fourth place. Should be a cracking race. So, turn of the women now for the 2 heats of the 100 freestyle. I'm going to see some returning swimmers from last night who had some success in the backstroke. Shelby Newkirk took the title yesterday. Nora Meister taking the bronze medal. But in between them, the young Colombian Sara Vargas Blanco, one of the younger swimmers that took part in the Paralympic Games last year. I think second youngest of all the swimmers who took part in Tokyo Paralympics. She's one that's kind of been coming through the rankings, Liz, as Sara Vargas Blanco. She's been posting some impressive times this year. And second in the world rankings in 1:14.26. So 5 swimmers in this first heat. We have 6 swimmers in the second heat. And top 8, of course, fastest 8 from the 2 heats will progress to the final. And a good start right in the centre there. Almost a perfect spearhead for this first heat. And that high turnover of Sara Vargas Blanco taking her into a good lead.
Yeah, we see it so often that countries have different athletes with the same type of impairment that can really learn from each other. And we saw Nelson Crispin in the men's equivalent of this race. Very similar stroke, that high elbow, that quick turnover. Vargas Blanco, the older she gets, the stronger she gets, the quicker she'll be able to move those arms through the water, which is why we keep seeing her improving as her power develops. But here, she's going very well. She turned first comfortably, 34.43. It was Nora Meister of Switzerland in second and Shelby Newkirk in third at the turn. The Canadian fresh off her victory in the backstroke, the 100 metres backstroke last night. But there you can see really clear water for Vargas Blanco as we come into the final stages of the race, leading that spearhead, as you said, Paul.
Yeah, well, let's keep an eye on that time. It's going to be a fast time, 1:14.37. Pretty much her fastest time of the year, just a tenth of a second outside the time that she set in Berlin a couple of months ago, and she is pleased with that performance, and no wonder. Second position, Nora Meister from Switzerland, winning that close contest of Shelby Newkirk, the champion last night in the backstroke from Canada. Fourth place, Ayala Tufik, and that's an African record for the Egyptian. Tufik, medalist at the World Championships back in 2017. But that's a good time for her, 1:21.56 for the African record there. But Sara Vargas Blanco, there was no messing about there. She wanted to make sure qualify for that final, and looks like she is going to be in one of those centre lanes tonight.
Yeah, and she's still only 15 years old, and we see that a lot with the younger athletes. They just attack the heats because they know they've got it in it to back them up. Their bodies recover a lot more quickly. We've already talked about this yesterday in day one about some of the older athletes, and you can see there just the enthusiasm with which youngsters attack heats. And she looked good, she looked strong. I wouldn't rule out her going faster, assuming these results do get confirmed and she clears through to the final.
And the officials in that glass box having a busy day, aren't they, today?
They are. We've only just started.
Result is confirmed. Sara Vargas Blanco takes that one. Great time, 1:14.37 ahead of Meister Newkirk, with Ayala Tufik, a new African record, in fourth position in that heat. Evelyn Saras, breaststroke specialist from Hungary, in 5th position. She and the rest of the swimmers will have to wait for this second heat. Again, in this S6 class, some swimmers going from the water, some swimmers going from the block.
The white cap of Anna Hunter of Ukraine in lane 5 got up and off into a good start. You can see that high stroke rate again. A lot of these athletes who don't have use of the lower half of their bodies do go for that high stroke rate to keep that balance, to keep that height, to minimize the drag that they have to then fight against to move forward through the water. She had a great first 50 meters yesterday in a 100 meters backstroke, and she's doing the same again. She's slightly slower around the wall. She goes into the wall very well, sometimes slower around it, but she's going well. She's being traced by Great Britain's Grace Harvey, as happened yesterday in the backstroke as well. Grace Harvey looks to be trying to claw back Anna Hunter, but Anna Hunter had so much speed down that first 50 meters. Will she be able to hold on? It is only a heat, so position not vital if you can finish in the top 3 spaces. And we can see here now Hunter starting to slow those arms down, but Harvey finishing strongly.
Hunter just about going to hold on, I think. Just Grace Harvey looking very good there in that second 50. Very controlled swim from the Great Britain swimmer. And those two times, 1:14.68 and 1:14.84. So another 2 times in the 1:14 range. No swimmer taking the start there in lane number 4, so we're not seeing Ellie Marks from the USA. We didn't see her yesterday. Haven't seen her today, Ellie Marks, so I'm not sure about the issue for the USA team, but she's not appeared for the start here, so that has kind of opened the door a little bit. The world ranked number 1 this year, Ellie Marks, and Anna Hunter and Grace Harvey will progress to the final along with Sarah Vargas Blanco, and think, what a great opportunity to be world champion.
Yeah, absolutely. And the fastest time in the world this year from Ellie Marks was 1:14.04. So now there's a few more swimmers joined her in that 1:14 range, and it'll set up an incredible battle for the races tonight, which often we see leads us to some very fast times. And this S6 women's category is such a competitive classification. There's a lot of people missing, and we're still seeing these really tight races.
Yeah, Hunter takes it by 16/100ths of a second from Grace Harvey. It was Laila Suzagan Abate in 3rd place. So Sarah Vargas Blanco leads the qualifiers, but only just. Anna Hunter and Grace Harvey close behind, with Nora Meister in 4th position. So great opportunity here for a new world champion to be crowned in that 100 freestyle S6 classification. Next event up, 200 meters individual medley, SM10. Two heats again of this one. 6 swimmers in the first heat, 7 swimmers in the second. Bastaken from Netherlands goes it in the centre lane. Paralympic and world bronze medalist. He's going to be the favourite for this one. Riccardo Minciotti, European bronze medalist last year, right here in Madeira. There's Alan Ogorzalik, a 19-year-old Polish swimmer. Also a medalist at the European Championships in 400 freestyle, so expect him to be strong in the closing stages. He's a finalist in Tokyo as well, the Polish swimmer, in this event. Bastaken, probably the class of this field, Liz.
Yeah, the Paralympic Games bronze medalist. He's good at a great 400 meter freestyler as well, but he's looking to make this his main event moving forward ahead into Paris. And again, 200 meter individual medley, so much can change, and we can see there Minciotti leading only by 0.12 from Australian rookie Alex Safi up in lane 7 in that yellow hat, gold hat, yellow hat, I'm not sure. But yeah, going well down that butterfly leg, and now that we're on to the backstroke, Minciotti, he has got a great first half of the race. He finishes strongly on the freestyle, but Bastakin will look to mark him. You've got to be careful here with these youngsters on the outside lane, the newcomers on the outside lane. Again, they'll be running with adrenaline, they'll be making it their aim to do best times and give themselves the best chance to get in to the final. You can't always see that from the middle lane, especially when you're swimming breaststroke. And now we see here Bastakin trying to make his move up onto the shoulder of early race leader Minciotti.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's doing. And you wouldn't really count anyone out to get in the top 3 spots at the moment. Alex Safi still going well with that yellow cap of Australia, one of the batch of youngsters from Australia, the 16-year-olds. He's probably coming through into 3rd place now as Bastakin just hits the front there at the end of the breaststroke. You've got to expect he's going to be strong on the freestyle, his distance freestyle pedigree for the Dutch swimmer. Minciotti, very good in the early stages of this individual medley and keeping pace with Bastakin, but Bastakin looking extremely relaxed, keeping an eye on the Italian and just maybe forging ahead now, just deciding, yeah, I've had enough of that, not going to mess about anymore, let's just stretch for the wall here, make sure I touch that wall first. Bastakin will take it, Minciotti will be second. Ogorzalek, is he going to hold off the challenge? No, he's not. Alex Safi, what a good swim from the 16-year-old Australian, getting in 3rd spot there, just ahead of the Polish swimmer Alan Ogorzalek. So that's your top 4. It's going to be a nervous wait for Ogorzalek there, and Alex Safi put himself in a great position, the young Australian, to make that final.
Yeah, he gave himself a great first 50, and that sets you up then on the 200 metre injury medley, because you're into your rhythm, into your routine. Comes into this with an entry time of 2:27.7, and we said about those outside lanes, 2:20.98 he went. That's a significant improvement at his first World Championships. We saw his teammate Jasmine Greenwood do the same from an outside lane in her heat in the 50 freestyle yesterday, and it led to a place on the podium. So, you know, the Australians are feeling the positive vibes, the fast swimming vibes, but Bastakin there making it look like business as usual.
Yeah, very impressive freestyle for Bastakin. He just seemed to change through the gears at the end there. And he touches the wall first in 2:18.25. Minciotti in 2nd. And Alex Safi in 3rd place. Alan Ogorzalek in 4th. Keeping a close eye on this one. 2:21.10 for the Polish swimmer. And the 2nd heat. See Stefano Raimondi, 2 medals yesterday for the Italian. He goes in lane number 4. Another Australian, Paul Pierce, Paralympic bronze medalist in butterfly with that yellow cap. Expect him to start well in the early stages of this 200 metres individual medley, but Stefano Raimondi has a heavy programme this week, as he quite often has at the major championships. A raft of medals in Tokyo, gold, 4 silvers and 2 bronze. Very heavy programme for the Italian, and he's doing something similar this week. 2 events, 2 medals yesterday. He'll be hoping to keep that run going. Good start from Cole Pierce, the Australian, the 18-year-old, another youngster who made his debut at the World Championships back in 2019 and rose to the podium in Tokyo last year. And he's going well in the early stages here, this yellow cap, leading the Italian as they come into the halfway point.
Cole Pierce will have it at the halfway point at the 100-metre turn. You can see that there, that great underwater shot, the flip around and onto the breaststroke. This is where Raimondi will look to effortlessly make his move. Cole Pierce, you can see from that underwater shot, missing that right foot, which you rely on breaststroke to whip in and generate the power and the speed moving forward. So his balance. Raimondi also has a leg impairment, but he has the foot there to act as balance, if nothing else. And you can see now the difference in the two strokes. And Stefano Raimondi does hit the front of the pack for the first time. He won't be too worried. He knows he can rely on that breaststroke, and it's brought him through. But as you said, such a busy program, and features not just, he's always in medal contention in the races that he swims. So he has to pace not only the way that he swims, but his energy and emotion levels throughout the whole program. And you can see Carl Pierce now trying to get back on level terms, because both athletes should qualify for the final, but it's always nice from a pride point of view to take that touch.
Yeah, Raimondi keeping a close eye on Carl Pierce. He's not keeping a close eye on Alex Elliott though, outside him, and Elliott almost just sneaked it there at the end. Raimondi taking it to 17 with Alex Elliott. Very good finish from the 400 freestyle specialist from Canada. Was never really in contention right until that very last stroke there. Cole Pierce in third spot. They will be safely into the final. Fourth place finisher was Justin Capps from Germany in 2:23.54. And might just be good enough for the German to qualify for that final. We'll wait for confirmation of that, but yeah, good swim from Raimondi. He did what he had to do. And you said, Liz, he's got a number of events he's going to be in contention with. He may well feature in the Italian relay squads, because they've got very strong squads, and they'll feature in most of the relays that we'll see here at these championships.
Yeah, and so like I said, you've got to. We keep saying it, but you do really have to plan out that. And Stefano Raimondi did just what he needed to.
So a really close finish there. Raimondi just getting the touch. He would have had a bit of a shock when he turned to his left there to see Alex Elliott into the wall, but it was all good for the Italian. He will progress to that final. There are the finalists. Justin Capps does make it in. Two Australians have made it as well. Women's 200 metres individual medley in the SM10 classification. Two heats again of this one. 6 swimmers due to take the start in both of the heats. I say due to take the start, there have been a few missing lanes today, Liz.
Yeah, for various reasons. I think athletes are playing around with their schedules here at this World Championships. It's slightly different to a Paralympics in that the program is smaller, so it's more condensed. A lot of athletes having to double up on the same day, or having quick succession turnarounds. And if something goes a little wrong, or you get a little twinge, then sometimes it's better off sitting it out.
The SM10 women's individual medley has probably, you would say, one of the outstanding events of recent years. There's been some great contests in this SM10 women's race. The Paralympic title went to Chantal Zuiderveld, and she won the world title as well. Lisa Kruger has always been there or thereabout. She goes in lane number 4. Very, very strong breaststroke as well. Michaela Jenkins, the butterfly specialist from the USA, will also be strong in lane number 5. We see Tatiana Lebrun as well, back in the water after that medal winning performance. Tatiana Lebrun just one lane up from those yellow marked lanes. The Belgian swimmer winning a medal in her first World Championships. But Lisa Kruger, very much an all-rounder. Probably this one, you would say, backstroke, probably her weakest element of the medley.
Yeah, but it's not that weak, is it? You know,
No.
she's won medals on the world stage in that event too. And I think that's what I was going to say, is that in an individual medley, the key is to minimise the impact that your weakest leg has, and that's where we've seen in recent years the strength and depth come through, and the competition come through in this SM10 event. Is that a lot of these women, even they don't have a weak stroke, and then their best, and if your best stroke, like Lisa Kruger, then is the breaststroke, as we can see here now, she's pulling away. Michaela Jenkins has got a very solid freestyle backstroke and butterfly, so we saw a good first half of the race. She'll finish well, but breaststroke is often the telltale sign, especially if your impairment is in the lower half of your body. And we can see here now Lisa Kruger pulling away. She again, another athlete with a heavy program throughout the week. Not so much having to worry about relays, but still an individual program that demands a lot from her mind and her body. And so she'll be looking to just get through this morning, blow away the cobwebs from yesterday, and set herself up well for a good lane, a good position in the final this evening.
Tatiana Lebrun coming back, challenging Michaela Jenkins there. Lebrun medalist in the breaststroke yesterday, behind Lisa Kruger. And that's your top three. Lisa Kruger is going to take this one pretty comfortably. She eases into the wall. Very lazy last stroke there from Lisa Kruger. She had that one in the bag. Michaela Jenkins in second position, and Tatiana Lebrun in third spot. Fourth place, Ksenga Hots from Hungary. Ksenga Hots, one of the youngest swimmers here, just 13 years of age, the Hungarian swimmer.
Well, the Hungarians had a very, very successful 2021, very successful Paralympic Games, and a few athletes sitting out this year, and then it does open the door to bring in some new talent.
We've seen the Hungarians do that over the years, haven't we? The likes of Sofia Konkley and Bianca Papp, they started, well, a number of them started right here in the European Championships in 2016. The Hungarians bringing those real youngsters to get experience of the major games.
Yeah, and even Fanny Els, who's sitting this one out because she's about to have a baby. She's been on the world circuit for a number of years, and in recent years has really dominated her event, the 100 metres breaststroke.
Lisa Kruger confirmed as the winner of that first heat of the women's 200 metres individual medley. Michaela Jenkins in second, Tatiana Lebrun in third. The youngster Ksenga Hots will have a close eye on this next heat, which features another Hungarian, and that is Bianca Papp, European champion, Paralympic silver medalist from last year. Either side of her, two Australians who both hit the medal podium yesterday. Jasmine Greenwood in the 50 freestyle, Kira Stevens one lane up in the breaststroke yesterday, but Bianca Papp in the top of those two yellow lanes, some way behind Jasmine Greenwood, who's really gone out fast on his 50 fly.
Yeah, Bianca Papp is known for having a strong first 100 metres of this 200 metre injury medley, so Jasmine Greenwood may be trying to break her, maybe trying to make her think about her own strategies, her own tactics here. But looking very good into that turn and coming out onto the backstroke. Nice flat head there, the pink goggle strap of Greenwood leading the way. Now Bianca Papp has started to reel her in. You can see there the backstroke specialist coming through, making her favoured leg count. That's for sure. As they'll come in now to turn at the halfway point and go on to the breaststroke, where you would expect Kira Stevens to try and make her move to get back on level terms.
Yeah, that's why we love the individual medley. Everybody has their speciality stroke. The leads can change. Bianca Papp made her name initially as a very good backstroker. First hit the medal podium on the international stage in backstroke event. She's progressed to doing the individual medley as well. Also the distance freestyle, she's been very good. She had a sensational 2021, you have to say. The Hungarian team really performed well at the major championships, and Papp is going to lead them into this final turn. The two Australians are going to be in close attendance, and Greenwood is going to be able to hold off the challenge of the breaststroke specialist Kira Stevens, I think, as they come into this final turn.
Yeah, Greenwood had given herself quite an advantage over her compatriot because of that butterfly leg specifically, and whilst Bianca Papp came back and reeled them in, Kira Stevens, she worked hard, she did close the gap, but as you said, didn't get back on level terms with Jasmine Greenwood. And we can see now as they're coming down into the final stage of the race. That marker signifies 15 to go. It is Bianca Papp who heads this second heat.
And she's going to win this one. 2:32 for Bianca Papp. Good swim from Greenwood in second position. In 2:35, Kira Stevens 2:38 for her. Pretty comfortable in terms of time. I would expect those three would be able to go faster in the final. Breathing a little bit heavily there at the end of that individual medley. They were working hard in that heat, but Bianca Papp looking comfortable.
Yeah, well, Jasmine Greenwood hasn't had much of a turnaround time, has she, from that 50 freestyle S10 event last night. It was the last event of the programme, so she's back up this morning, and she worked hard. Like, if you're feeling good, you work hard on a butterfly, and even though it looks quite good and quite effortless, it's always going to take something out of you. And I think that is the thing with the individual medley, because as much as you don't want to, because you don't know the strength of everybody else's strokes, you work yours hard even in the heat, and it's only in that last 15 meters of the freestyle really that you have the luxury of slowing things down and easing into the wall.
That's a decent first 50 split there. 31.11 for Jasmine Greenwood on that first 50 fly, so that's impressive. She was reeled in though by Bianca Papp from Hungary. 2:32.35. She takes that second heat. The Australians in second and third. Gabriella Smith, another good swim from the young New Zealand swimmer, and that will qualify her for the final in 8th position. But Bianca Papp leads the way. Lisa Kruger in second position. Greenwood and Stevens have both made it, as has Michaela Jenkins, Lebroom, and the young Hungarian Kasenga Hots. So Bianca Papp looking good. Try and pick up another title here in Madeira to add to the one that she won last year in the European Championships. Back to the 2-length races now. And we have the 100 backstroke S8 classification. Two Spanish swimmers in this one from the Czech Republic, one from Latvia and one from Great Britain. Inigo Lopez Sanz from Spain will be one of the favourites for this one. He was the Paralympic silver medalist. This man, Yuri Semyonovs of Latvia, gold medalist at the European Championships back in 2018, the Latvian. Two Spanish swimmers though. Sergio Martes Mingui just missed out on the final in Tokyo in this event, finishing in 9th position. He was a medalist at the European Championships last year though. Inigo Lopez Sanz will be very much favourite for this one. 5 swimmers in this first heat, 6 in the second heat. So position all important in this first heat.
Yeah, Inigo Lopez Sanz getting a very good start here, using up 14.5 meters of the underwater phase that he is permitted off the start, and you can see with that long left arm and then that shorter right arm, got quite a high stroke rate to keep moving through. Very well for him is his compatriot Sergio Martes Mingui, 1 lane up. But it will be Lopez Sanz at the turn, just over half a second ahead of Martes Mingui, with Semyonovs turning in 3rd position. But there's definitely a battle on. Sam Downey of Great Britain, who was in personal best breaking form yesterday in the 400 metres freestyle in his first World Championship outing, riding that adrenaline from those outside lanes once again. But the Spanish athletes at the front of the race looking strong.
Yeah, Spain going to take this one 1 and 2, I think. Lopez Sanz and Martes Mingui all to play for 3rd position though, and that could be important as to who makes the final. Lopez Sanz takes it in 1:09, Martes Mingui in 2nd and reaching for the wall. Oh, was it Semyonov's getting that one? Well, I'm not sure it was. We'll wait for confirmation of that one. I think it might have been Great Britain's Sam Downey who takes that touch over Yuri Semyonov's. I'll just give you confirmation of that one. No doubt about who took the top 2 spots though. Inigels Lopez Sanz. Again, probably the class of that first heat. European champion from 2021. And Paralympic Games silver medalist last year behind the USA's Robert Griswold. So Spain looking good in those top 2 places. Good swim from Martos Mignoret as well. 110.90 for him. Bang on his entry time. Just 3/100ths of a second different. There's Sam Downey reaching for the wall there at the bottom. Yeah, definitely getting in ahead of Semyonov's and Peter Freeba. So I think the young Great Britain swimmer having a good debut here in Madeira. I think he might just force himself into another final here for Great Britain. So Spain 1 and 2, Great Britain in 3. That's the result of heat number 1. Heat number 2 sees the Paralympic champion Robert Griswold from the USA. In line number 4 has dominated its World Championships for the last 2 occasions. Champion in 2019, champion in 2017. Holds the world record he set in Tokyo last year. Very impressive 1:02.55 for the American. Pipo Calamaggio also been a medalist on the international stage as well. World Championship and Paralympic Games medalist, the Argentinian. His father was also a Paralympic swimmer in 96, 2000 and 2004. So Calamaggio keeping the family tradition alive. He's in 3rd spot at the moment. Griswold with a good lead there. And Felix Cowan, the Canadian, going well right up there in lane 2.
Yeah, there's some fast swimming this morning from those outside lanes, and we saw Robert Griswold. He always attacks the first 50, uses his speed, gets a commanding position, and then that's when he eases back, and we can see him doing that. Another swimmer with a busy program here for the United States this week, but now he's coasting under the flags into the red zone to hit the wall in a comfortable time of 1:07.81 for him this morning.
Yeah, he's capable of coming back in something like 32 seconds for the second 50. That was almost a 37, so it just shows you how relaxed he was in that second 50. There's Calamaggio, 1:11.79 for him. 3rd spot was the young Canadian Felix Cowan, just holding off the challenge of the others to come in 1:12.16. An improvement around about 1.5 seconds with Felix Cowan at his first major international. That's the place to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And the Canadians have brought a big squad here to the World Championships. 32 swimmers, their 2nd biggest squad ever at a major championships, only to be beaten by their home Pan American Games in Toronto. And again, it's great to see because they've always been a powerhouse, but they typically had a lot of higher classification swimmers, but now they seem to have great breadth and depth across the board. And we've seen from other countries such as Italy, Ukraine, that can be a real recipe for success.
Yeah, absolutely. Felix Cowan has done well, 1:12.16 for the Canadian. Calamaggio just getting into the wall ahead of him, and Griswold relaxed in 1st position. He will progress to the final in the top spot ahead of the 2 Spanish swimmers. Calamaggio is in as well. Felix Cowan, Mark Malyar, Matthew Torres, and the young Great Britain swimmer, the youngest in the field, Sam Downey, makes it into his 2nd World Championship final. So the women's backstroke should be next out. I think there's only one heat with 10 swimmers due to take the start here. Got to lose 2 swimmers to get down to that top 8 for the finals. Is that an easier thing to do you think, Liz, to have the one heat to lose just 2 swimmers rather than have, like, 2 heats?
Yeah, I think in some respects, if you can get away with using all 10 lanes, one, it helps your time, it helps your timeline overall, but as athletes too, it helps. But then you don't have the luxury, I guess, of being in the second heat and seeing what the first heat does. But you do have the luxury of having all swimmers that you're up against with you at the same time, so they're easy to mark. So it swings around. If you're really good at pacing and you know exactly what you're doing, then sometimes being in that second heat can be beneficial. But I think at face value, all being in the same heat, at least you know exactly what you've got to do, don't you?
Yeah, I think it's all about position, isn't it?
Definitely.
As you said, you go through the periods of your career where you've got absolute confidence in your ability, haven't you? And then you go through other periods in your career and you think, oh, am I going
maybe not today.
filled with doubt.
Yeah.
Well, Katerina Denisenko from Ukraine will be the favourite for this one. She is another one who has had a very long career. The Ukrainian was almost a perpetual silver medalist at the major championships. Denisenko favoured the 100 metres butterfly when she was a silver medalist. Oh, I think many occasions before she finally hit gold in the Paralympic Games in Rio in 2016. And she goes in lane number 4, and a great shot there of the technique of Denisenko.
Yeah, Denisenko, as you said, traditionally a butterfly swimmer, but her single arm butterfly, she has no rotation in that shoulder that she swims with the arm down by her side. And so actually it's a very similar stroke that she swims for butterfly and backstroke. She uses that butterfly leg kick to drive her through and the hip undulation, rather than an alternating leg kick that you maybe traditionally would see, because it enables her to time that pull and get the maximum distance per stroke. As you can see, she's executing it very well here. Francesca Palazzo of Italy is coming in to this meet with the fastest time of the year, and she's finishing strongly here against Gian Madeira, but it is Denisenko that will get the touch.
Yeah, Denisenko will take that one, 121.81. A couple of seconds outside her entry time. Didn't have to be fast this morning. Mira Jean-Mac in second place. As Denisenko trying to look down at the scoreboard, I think. There's the young German swimmer, Mira Jean-Mac, the 18-year-old. Who's come through the ranks again the last couple of years. Palazzo, another good swim. Medalist yesterday in the 400. Just wait for confirmation of the result, but that should be your top 3. There's Denisenko. Just real good stretch with that good arm on the backstroke. As we said, traditionally a butterfly swimmer, but she hit the medal podium in Tokyo last year on the backstroke, taking the silver medal, continuing that good run of form here on World Championships. German, oh, that was a close finish there for a second position, just 0.1 of a second separating those two. Mira Jean-Mac taking that extra stroke, nearly cost her the touch. Palazzo just a tenth of a second behind. Jade Lebris would come to the final as well, all the way down to Vendela Duskova from the Czech Republic. There is confirmation of the finalists. Denisenko will be the favourite going into that final, with Mac and Palazzo close behind. Jade Lebris of France in 4th place. Well, getting through these heats this morning, Liz. It's a relatively short session today compared to yesterday.
Yeah, and heats, they roll through, don't they? The time goes and you don't even realise how far through you are. But yes, here we've made it. We're all through the first hour. We've been treated to some, not so many close tussles, but some setups to some really good finals this evening already. And still a fair amount of action. Even though it's only a short programme, we've still got a fair amount of action to see.
Another event where we only have one heat, 10 swimmers in this one. This is the S11 class. We love the S11 class. We're probably going to have a little bit more time to talk about it now in the two-length races, because it was a 50 yesterday. Didn't really get much chance to cover it. Here's Kimura, medalist yesterday in the 50. Gold medalist in his home Paralympic Games in Tokyo. And Tomita, silver medalist in that 100 metres butterfly as well. A real kind of emotional day in Tokyo. They had to wait right to the end of the programme to get that 100
we've talked
fly.
about it before, and we've seen that with other host nations at European Championships in 2018. Ellen Keane for Ireland was in Dublin, and we had to wait for the last day for that. And so the pressure mounts, even if you are the favourite, even if you're feeling pretty confident, it's still difficult. And obviously, even though we only have one heat here, it's less important about position, because none of these athletes can see the position of their competitors, and it wouldn't matter if it was split over two heats, or there's no benefit to it being one heat here for them.
There's Roger Dorsman from the Netherlands. What a good swim he had yesterday to win the 50 freestyle. 3 times a Paralympic champion, Dorsman. We also have the bronze medalist from Tokyo in this one as well, in lane 6, Wendell Belmarino Pereira. And 2 Japanese swimmers in those centre lanes, those yellow lane markers. And Tomita just on the right hand side of his lane. Kimura and Dorsman. Dorsman maybe just edging it there on that first 50. We'll come up to the tappers. You see the tapping sticks will tell these visually impaired swimmers where the wall is. Dorsman doing a pretty good job ahead of the 2 Japanese swimmers.
Yeah, and there you can see Dorsman not using too much of that underwater phase as you traditionally expect with butterflies, because the longer the S11 swimmers are underwater, the more chance there is that they're going to deviate from the lane line. And butterfly is probably one of the more challenging events for the S11s to swim, because they use that lane rope to guide them. But on butterfly, you go wide and you go out, so you can clatter either the lane rope or your compatriot. But they've all chosen the right lane rope and coming through well now to take the touch. Sorry, not the final. That would be exciting, wouldn't it? Is Tomita of that early lead, 104.30 for the win now.
Yeah, Tomita swam a good second 50 there, the fastest of the leading 3. Take that one in 104.30. It's his fastest time of the year. Tomita. All these swimmers, of course, been wearing blacked out goggles. The goggles will have to be checked before the result can be official. There's the tapping stick coming in there, telling the swimmers where to go. Roger Dorsman. Great last couple of years that he has had. He'd love to win this one. World record. It stood since 2008. Long-standing world record, this one. Kimura has the championship record, which he set back in London in 2019. It was very close at the turn there. Tapper's doing a good job, Liz.
Yeah, and Tomita got off the block well, but then it was Dorsman and Kimura that really took it out down that first 50 metres. But coming back so strongly, Tomita, he looked really good at the end, and he got that finish right, which again is so crucial for these S11 athletes.
Blacked out goggles being checked by the officials. Here we are. So they'll hold them up to the light, just make sure there's no scratches or anything. Some of the S11 swimmers, of course, have some form of vision, maybe some light perception.
Yeah, and so they actually sometimes they choose to swim in the S12 category, because even that little bit of light perception enables them to like sense when the wall is coming. Others not.
Yeah. Tomita, Kimura, Dorsman confirmed as the top three. They are the three main contenders for this one, that's for sure. Mikhailo Serbin in fourth position. And Wendell Belmarino Pereira just making it in to that final. Paralympic bronze medalist. He's going to have his work cut out from the outside lane, I think, Liz. Wendell.
Yeah, and we saw him challenged and off the podium in the 50-meter freestyle last night as well. He's still relatively new, like we were saying, world champion in 2019, Paralympic champion in 2020, but he hasn't done a full Paralympic cycle yet.
Incredible record for a newcomer. 100 metres backstroke in the S14 classification. We saw these S14 swimmers yesterday swim in the 200 freestyle. World record holder goes in the centre lane. Benjamin Hans from Australia. It's the S14 class, swimmers with an intellectual impairment. Again, we have one heat, this one, 10 swimmers, and they'll drop to 8 for the final this evening. Just looking down the lanes, Liz, I don't think we have got anyone in lane number 1, so we might only have 9 swimmers here. There's the world record holder, Benjamin Hans. Kind of burst onto the scene in the World Para Swimming meet last year when he set the world record. He was a relatively unknown until then. But he came through, set the world record, took the gold medal in Tokyo. Next to him, Rhys Dunn in lane number 3 was the Paralympic bronze medalist. And the other side of him is Gabriel Bandera, who won a sensational gold medal yesterday in the 200 freestyle, very close to the world record mark.
Yeah, the Australians have got good tradition in the S14 category, typically more freestylers and breaststrokers, but Benjamin Hans has really moved this backstroke event on, and we can see here he's not hanging about down this first 50. He'll turn first in a time of 27.77. Again, only one swimmer to drop, but with a lot of these S14 athletes, they get their instructions from their coach before they go to the call room, which is a good 15-20 minutes before the race, and the coach won't know that athlete isn't turning up. So even though that's happening, they're going with their tactics here, and we can see Benjamin Hans way ahead of everybody
He's
else.
bang on world record pace here, 56.88 for Hans. Oh, just outside there, it's a championship record, 57.47. He was 7/100 shy of the world record pace as he went through the halfway point. And Benjamin Hans, a swimmer, swimming with real confidence there. Bandera was second position. In third spot was Krajnic of Ukraine. And fourth position, well, it might have been Hillhouse of Denmark, who had a good swim there from lane number 8. So a great swim from Benjamin Hans, really good. It just looked effortless there as he went through that first 50.
Well, yeah, when he won in Tokyo, him and his coach were like, he broke the world record, and they were like, we know we can go quicker. And then he did break the world record again in December of 2021. So he knows he's got in it. I think him and his coach are working to a time. They know what time they're capable of from what they do in the training pool, and they're just waiting for it all to come together, for it to deliver the time that they're dreaming of in the race, in a race environment. And that looks like it could well be tonight, Paul.
Well, we know that Bandera usually has something in the locker, but has he got 4 seconds in the locker, the Brazilian? Wow, Benjamin Hans championship record. He splits the field apart there. Krajnic in third position. And there is the top 8. Benjamin Hans leads the way. There's 3 from Great Britain that have made it. Jordan Catchpole, Louis Lawler, and the Paralympic bronze medalist Rhys Dunn just scraping into that outside lane. But, well, can you see past Benjamin Hans tonight for that gold medal? I don't think so. That was impressive.
I think you would be a brave person, wouldn't you, to call call a different winner, but anything can happen. If you've got a lane, you've got a chance. So, but he's looking very, very strong. He's given everyone else something to think about.
Women's backstroke for the S14 classification. We have 2 heats. Jessica Jane Applegate of Great Britain in the fast lane, centre lane. Silver medalist yesterday in the 200 freestyle of Great Britain. Clean sweep yesterday. Bethany Firth, Jessica Jane Applegate and Louise Fiddis. Applegate back in the water again. Kasumi Fukui from Japan in lane number 3. Madeline McTurnan, who had a good swim in the 200 freestyle, just missing out the medal. She goes in lane number 5. That yellow cap of the Australian team. So there's Jessica Jane Applegate. Yeah, backstroke has been one of the events she's picked up medals in the World and Paralympic stage. Bronze medalist in Tokyo last year, and very famous victory at the World Championships in 2015 against all the odds. Jessica Jane Applegate taking the gold on that day in Glasgow.
Yeah, I think Jessica Jane Applegate, the one thing she is a fighter, and she doesn't do the breaststroke, but everything else, she's got her name in the hat. In the ring to give herself the best chance of getting as many medals as possible and opportunities to win. And we can see here going at 33.78, she's almost a second head of Madeline McTurnan. But Madeline McTurnan of Australia, she finished extremely strongly in the 200 metre freestyle last night, just to miss out on the podium. So she'll have strong second 50, but this is typically where Jessica Jane Applegate moves forward through anyway, but she's an experienced athlete now, and on backstroke you can see from that view that we just had, when you're in this position you can then see the rest of the field and work out how quickly you want to go.
And Applegate comes in just under the 110 mark, safely into the final with that performance. She said Liz, experienced campaigner, she's been right at the top of her game for a decade now, almost bursting onto the scene at the London Paralympics in 2012.
Yeah, and as you said, that was in the 200 metres freestyle, but because she's got that range, if one event's not going well, she normally manages to pull it out of the bag in a different event. You can see her give a little nod there. That is the fastest time she's been this year, by 3/100 of a second, but it's all progress, especially because she won't have been going all out there in that heat swim this morning with using all of her effort.
Yeah, she'll be pleased with that one. She was another swimmer that kind of suffered a little bit during the lockdown for the pandemic, didn't she? She took a long time to get back in the water.
Yeah, the way that her disability affects her, she doesn't deal well with change, of environment, of people, of atmosphere, of anything like that. So she made the decision to stay home and not go and seek that training environment at the performance centre, which most of the British swimmers did. So she was training in her back garden, famously in a hot tub. But
it was a big hot tub though. It wasn't just lounging about. Applegate takes that one. McTurnan in second position. Fukui in third place for Japan. She would watch with interest this second heat. Bethany Firth has a great record in this event. She goes in lane number 4. 3 times Paralympic champion in 2012, 16 and last year in Tokyo. She's the reigning world champion as well, and the world record holder, which she set in Rio in 2016 at 104.05. So she's really dominated this event, and it's quite hard to see past Bethany Firth for this one.
Absolutely, but we've seen some youngsters do some incredible things on day 1 of this meet so far, and one lane closer to us, it is Great Britain's Poppy Maskell, who's 17 years old, and she'll be looking to try and help her compatriots replicate the 1-2-3 that they had last night in the 200 metres freestyle. But of course there's a number of people looking to break up that party. Madeline McTurnan in this one, Ana Carolina Soares de Oliveira of Brazil in lane 3. She's going well here in that blue cap. They'll all be looking to break up the British dominance in this event that is on paper potentially going to happen.
Yeah, it is. Britain, of course, clean sweep of the medals in the 200 freestyle. Look at Poppy Maskell here challenging the great Bethany Firth, and what a good swim from the youngster here. This is excellent debut from Poppy Maskell, and she gets in ahead of the Paralympic champion. Well, that was a great swim from the young swimmer from Great Britain, Poppy Maskell. Nice debut on the world stage, that one, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and you can see, and Bethany Firth, again, we talk about that youth and experience. The adrenaline in your first World Championship race is that you're going to go, you're just going to attack it. She can come back tonight, she knows she can back that up. Bethany Firth coming straight in off the back of a winning swim last night. So she'll take that heat a little bit smoother. She'll have something left for tonight. It is Bethany Firth with the fastest time in the world this year at 1:07.14, but both British athletes there in the 1:07 range. So they've set up a potentially exciting battle.
Well, Bethany Firth did the work in the early stages, but the youngster, Poppy Maskell, finished extremely strongly, pulling back on the Paralympic champion, the triple Paralympic champion, in the closing stages. And Poppy Maskell taking that touch. Oh, she took an extra stroke. That nearly cost her the win there, but she does take it by 9/100ths of a second at the end. Poppy Maskell, 1:07.88 ahead of Bethany Firth, 1:07.97. It was Soares de Oliveira in third position in that second heat and advancing to the final. Can Great Britain do another clean sweep of the medals here? They're in the top 3 places, and Poppy Maskell, well, Great Britain have uncovered another star, I think. We move on to a 100 breaststroke now on the SB13 class. SB13, swimmers with a visual impairment. These swimmers will have partial vision. Remember the classifications for the visually impaired: S11 for swimmers with no vision at all, up to S13, swimmers with partial vision. And the SB in front of the title of the event means it's a breaststroke event. 100 breaststroke, and there is world record holder Thalasso Engel of Germany. German team won 2 gold medals in the Tokyo Paralympic Games, and Thalasso Engel was one of them. Both lives in the SB13 100 breaststroke.
Well, we talk about it, don't we? Some nations, they specify in certain classifications or certain events, and that is an example of when it's come true.
Thalasso Engel, really powerful. I mean, we remember seeing Thalasso Engel as a real, almost a young kid a few years back in Dublin, I think it was, in 2018. And he's just really grown, and it's such a quality breaststroke, and he seems to perform really well at major championships.
Yeah, he's really grown as an athlete and a person. Like, you know, in Dublin in 2018, he was 16. Like you said, he was tall, but he was skinny. And over the last 4 years, he's really been able to develop some power through his gym work and strength, and he's grown into his frame, and he's using that so effectively. And technically as well, he's a great athlete, but he's not having it all his own way this morning.
No, Zumgali from Kazakhstan is leading them. Zumgali, it's one that Thalasso Engel and Zumgali have had some battles in the past. Thalasso Engel winning in Tokyo, but Zumgali shocked Thalasso Engel last year in the World Para Series in Berlin to get in ahead of him, and 1:04.49 for Zumgali, the Kazakhstan swimmer. And that is a good swim for him, and that's an Asian record for Zumgali. Wow, great swim for the Kazakh swimmer in lane number 5. And Thalasso Engel, as you said, Liz, he's not going to have it all his own way in that final. He finishes second. with the Dutch swimmer Thomas van Rooij in third position. Van Rooij, medalist in the individual medley in Tokyo last year. Thalasso Engel was a champion, of course, in London in 2019, but it was a very good start for Zungali, the Kazakhstan swimmer, and he maintained that lead. Now you see that kind of black cap of Kazakhstan just with a minor advantage as they went over at the halfway point, but really powerful second 50 there. Three swimmers very, very close, and that time at 104.49 would have won probably any of the major championships in recent years. Zungali takes an Asian record, and he will lead the way into the final. Thalasso Engel, Paralympic champion, in second position. Thomas van Rooij in third place from that heat. Zungali will be the one to beat tonight. What has the Paralympic and world champion Thalasso Engel got in his locker? Promises to be a fascinating final again.
Yeah, and that can go either way on breaststroke, can't it? We saw Thalasso Engel with a slightly longer stroke there, but tonight he'll probably look to up that rate, and there's that balance, because on breaststroke, if you up it too much, then you start slipping the water and you start swimming more on the spot because you're not moving forward, and you can get sucked into someone else's race. But we talked about Engel coming of age, and not only physically but tactically as well.
Another German swimmer in this one, that's Maurice Vetterkam, who was a silver medalist yesterday in the breaststroke. Pole position in this first heat. Hugo Didier of France. Didier, yeah, European champion, Paralympic bronze medalist. Looking confident there. There's Oscar Salguero Galisteo, medalist, gold medalist at the Paralympic Games in breaststroke. Maurice Vetterkam, the youngster, the 16-year-old. The outside lines of the five swimmers. Goga Gorovic of Poland in lane number 2. And in lane 6, the experienced Jose Antonio Maria Alcaraz of Spain. Didier had a great season last season, Liz. He kind of came to our attention really as a backstroker, but his individual medley and his distance freestyle was excellent last year.
Yeah, this pool actually at the European Championships last year, he really did, everything moved on, and he sent a message to the world. But in Tokyo, this classification group was just so condensed, it was so overloaded, that there were such tight finishes, and maybe in terms of medals, he didn't get what he would have hoped for, but he did actually, in terms of the times that he swam and the way that he performed, and the additional strokes that you said that he developed in, it was incredible. Typically, Jose Maria Alcaraz goes out well on that butterfly we see here. The butterfly backstrokers, and you can see Hugo Didier now coming through, need to get ahead because they know that the breaststroke specialists will be making their charge on that third leg, so that'd be Vetterkam and Salguero Galisteo. They'll be looking to make up some ground on the breaststroke, but going very well at the halfway point. It is the fly backstroke specialist Didier and Maria Alcaraz leading the way.
That's a real weapon, that backstroke, isn't it, on an individual medley? It's really stretched ahead of the field. Hugo Didier, the lead of over a couple of seconds for Maria Alcaraz. He's going to struggle, I think, the Spanish swimmer on the breaststroke. The breaststroker's coming back now, as you said, Liz, just on either side of the leader, Salguero Galisteo and Maurice Vetterkam. It's all kind of closing up for the minor places, but Hugo Didier, huge lead on that backstroke, and he's pretty much maintained that in the breaststroke.
Yeah, and you can see that he doesn't get any power from his kick at all. But what he does manage to do really well was, for someone with a lower leg impairment, is maintain a balanced breaststroke stroke. So he limits the damage, I guess, that occurs down that third 50. And we know he's got a strong 400. Freestyle, he got a silver medal at the Paralympic Games, so he knows he can bring this home and he'll coast in.
Yeah, have the advantage of being able to look around, to see that there's no one else in sight, and he's going to coast home. It's a real battle for second place, but here is Hugo Didier, 2:19, under the 2:20 mark. Some good swim from him. A fast finish from Maurice Vetterkamp to finish in second place. Good second half of that race, and Jose Antonio Maria Alcaraz using his good freestyle speed at the end there to come through into third position, with Oscar Salguero Galisteo in fourth place and Igor Grigorovic just in fifth place. There's Jose Antonio Maria Alcaraz. Had a good freestyle there. Lost some ground on the breaststroke as we thought he might do. Picked up into third spot on the freestyle, but Hugo Didier looking comfortable. French have had a couple of good swims this morning. So Lauren Chardard earlier, Hugo Didier. These are swimmers, Liz, that the French team will have signposted to win their medals at these championships.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously they're building into a home Paralympics. There's nothing more incentivizing than that, and Hugo Didier, he burst onto the scene and he's going from strength to strength, and he will be one of those athletes that leads that charge. They're a small team, the French, but they are a very successful team.
Second heat is going to be on its way. We will see some of the main contenders for the medals in this one. There's a confirmed result of that first heat. Hugo Didier, 2:19.48. Second fastest time in the year. Takes that heat ahead of the young German Maurice Vetterkamp and Jose Antonio Maria Alcaraz. 6 swimmers in this second heat. You would think the top 3 in that first heat. Oh, in fact, I think we might have a revision to that result. Just maybe have to bring you that. The scoreboard in the venue here has revised that first result as we see the starting lineup for the second heat. Maybe have to bring you that. Oh, here we are. There's a revised result. Yeah, 2 disqualifications. Wow. So swimmers finishing second and third, Maria Alcaraz and Maurice Vetterkamp, are disqualified in that individual medley. Didier safely into the final. So Salguero Galisteo in second and Grigorovic in third place there. So, not how we thought that first heat would go in the end. I wonder what's got in store for the second heat. Timothy Hodge will be very much the favourite for this one, the Australian. Federico Morlacchi goes next to him in lane number 5. Morlacchi, world champion in 2015 and 2017, Paralympic champion in 2016 in Rio. He has been almost a talisman for the Italian team. He's been there all the way through the growth of this Italian team, right from when he was maybe one of about 3 or 4 swimmers swimming at the major championships to the huge squad they have here in Madeira this year.
Yeah, he almost led the resurgence, didn't he? And he was the first face of the new Italians, and he's been there. We've seen him. He's grown on the world stage. He's a father now. He's got multiple medals across all competitions and across many events too. But he does love this 200-meter individual medley. But Timothy Hodge has been fined for Australia. He's been around a while. He's been on the team. He, again, another athlete that's grown up, I guess, in front of our eyes. And and he's got a really strong first half of the race. As with Mulaki, breaststroke probably his weakest leg, but again, he's worked really hard here, you can see, to combat the balance, to make sure that he's balanced, so that with every stroke he moves forward, and that leg, the leg kick that is impaired doesn't slow him down compared to the. Then you can see the difference there. Hodge manages to get some height, whereas Mulaki swims more flat to the water, so there's more resistance there from him. Hodge pulling away from the field now and looking very, very strong, living up to his tag of pre-race favourite.
Yeah, as you said, Liz, Timothy Hodge has been around for a while, and you know he's always threatened at the major championships. He's won bronze, he's won silver medals, but he'll see this as a great chance to be on top of the podium. It's one we've always said, Timothy Hodge, yeah, he's going to take gold this time. It's never quite happened for the Australian, but this is a fantastic chance. He's very much the favourite for this one, and he's bringing them home, and he's going to be clearly ahead of anyone else in this field. 2:15.10 for the Australian, just a second and a half outside the world record held by his compatriot Matt Cowdrey, and that has stood since 2008. So Timothy Hodge looking on great form. This could be a great opportunity for him to get a first global title. Looks comfortable as well. There's Mulaki finishing second place. Jacobo Garrido Brun in third place for Spain. But Timothy Hodge, one that, well, he's going to be tough to beat tonight. Hugo Didier looked comfortable in that first heat though.
Yeah, and it'll be a good battle because they're pretty evenly matched. We talk about, like, in some of the other medley events we've seen, there's been definite breaststroke specialists, and there are in this. But in terms of the two maybe favourites, their weaker stroke is their breaststroke. They're very strong butterflies, they're very strong backstrokers, and they've got a good freestyle. So it's pretty evenly matched, and they could play a bit of cat and mouse.
Hodge had the edge over Didier in Tokyo. He took the silver, with Didier taking the bronze medal. Wonder if it's going to be the same story tonight. We have another disqualification. Vasilenko from Ukraine is disqualified. Doesn't affect the top three positions. Hodge, Mulaki and Garrido Brun confirmed as 1, 2 and 3. So these disqualifications has meant that place in the final for Lucas Mozilla of Brazil. But Hodge and Didier, they will be the favourites tonight. Mulaki, Garrido Brun, very close in terms of time for the third spot. It's going to be a cracking final as well. There's a view of that wall, that picture on the wall here in the pool. And that is exactly what it looks like outside. Maybe not the view from the pool, but exactly, almost from our hotel really, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think it's a really clever idea that they put that up there, because you look over at that end of the pool and you really do think that you're there. It's only 10 minutes down the hill.
It is.
But
just a great setting, isn't it? It's,
yeah.
It's a wonderful island. I love coming back here. I'm glad we've had the opportunity to come back again after doing the European Championships last year, Liz, from home.
Yeah, were you worried that you were going to be sat in sunny Scotland forever?
You were worried the internet connection would go down again.
I would be, yes.
Yeah. You've never got over that one, have you?
No, I still get nightmares. I lost you. I got separation anxiety. I need you.
Spain in the middle two lanes for this first heat of the SM9 individual medley. Uriah Marquez Soto next to her young teammate Anastasia Dimitrieva again. Not a 13-year-old taking the start. Dimitrieva, and again the Spanish team have been introducing youngsters. And Dimitrieva, I think, from having seen her in the World Para Series in Berlin, she's going to be a real star. Breaststroke especially, very, very strong for the young Spaniard.
Yeah, and Marcus Soto will know that, so she'll look to do have a disadvantage because breaststroke is typically a leg-driven stroke, and we can see here now onto the backstroke. It is Marcus Soto in that black hat for Spain, and one lane up from her, Tony Shaw of Great Britain, also going very, very well. Her first race of this World Championships.
Yeah, Marcus Soto won the World Championships back in 2019. Tony Shaw, the bronze medalist on that occasion. And Marcus Soto, again, swimmer made a name as a backstroker initially. He's moved to other events, won the Paralympic title in 400 freestyle in Rio. And she's a leg amputee. Tony Shaw just missing the lower part of her arm. And Katarina Roxon as well, very strong breaststroker from Canada, Paralympic champion back in 2016. She's going well for Canada up there in lane 3. But here's the youngster now, Dimitriv coming through in lane number 5 very strongly on that breaststroke, followed by Summer Schmidt as well from USA.
Yeah, and the spearhead is still intact at this stage, but the young Spaniard Dimitriv going very well, putting in a great performance here. As we come in, that overshot of the two Spanish athletes turning now, and Marcus Soto still with that advantage. Tony Shaw, Summer Schmidt, their freestyle it can tell so much, and they can't take it too easy because there's still a strong heat to come. So position is important here, and you have to make sure that you don't go too cleverly. So those athletes in the two white hats, Schmidt and Shaw, will want to make sure that they get on the right end of that third position touch.
They will, and Tony Shaw, I think, is closing on Naraya Marcus Soto, but the young 13-year-old is going to take this one in her international debut swim. And I think the electronics have gone a little bit awry here, because I'm sure Dimitriv was first into the wall, and she will be just under the 240 mark. And that is Dimitriv. It wasn't Marcus Soto who took the touch there. I hope there's not going to be another disqualification, because that was an impressive swim from the young Spanish swimmer, coming through on her more experienced teammate in the closing stages. Tony Shaw was possibly just in third position ahead of Summer Schmidt, I think. There wasn't much in that, maybe about 1/10 of a second, but that could be an important touch for Great Britain's Tony Shaw. But I said she'd be good, didn't I, Liz? Anastasia Dimitriv.
Yeah, you saw her perform in Berlin. You were already excited. See, probably her favourite event, the breaststroke. So, but she'll be happy to get her World Championship campaign underway.
Well, the scoreboard sorting itself out here at the venue. It does look like we might have a disqualification, but we'll bring you confirmation of that as soon as we can. And yeah, we do. Look at that. Ryan Marcus Soto, the world champion, disqualified. Well, that is a shame for the Spanish team. Dimitriv taking that touch ahead of Tony Shaw and Summer Schmidt. And Marcus Soto, well, that'll be disappointing for the Spaniard. It's not the first time we've seen her disqualified, though, in the individual medley, is it, Liv?
Yeah, a lot of the SB8 breaststrokers who have a lower leg impairment really struggle. There's a very specific way that you need to kick your leg in order to not get disqualified. You have to make sure that you turn your foot out on the leg that you do have, the ankle that you do have. But it's very difficult. If you turn it out too much, then you offset the balance. So that's where we see it's a bit of a grey area, and that's often where the disqualifications come from. But that is purely speculation, because
we don't know.
I'm not the judge. That is often where the problem lies.
It is. We can only guess from here in our commentary position, high up in the gantry, looking down on the pool. Another Spanish swimmer goes in this second heat, and that's the experienced Sarai Gascon. And she goes in lane number 3. Sophia Konkley, what a good season she had last year, winning the European title, almost winning the Paralympic title, just behind Sophie Pascoe of New Zealand in Tokyo. Sophia Konkley will be firm favourite for this one in lane number 4. Don't think we have swimmers in 5 or 6, so no Lakeisha Patterson or Emma Medjic, but we do have 6 swimmers, I think, taking the start for this second heat.
Ellen Keane is the athlete missing, I think, from lane 6. Our scoreboard in the venue has gone a bit wild, but yes, so Ellen Keane of Ireland is out of lane 6, as is Lakeisha Patterson, who actually had the fastest time in the world this year in this event from Australia, so she is out as well. So again, it changes the way that these athletes then have to swim, and Sophia Konkley going well down this first 100 metres. Butterfly and backstroke and freestyle, her strength. Breaststroke, again, probably her weaker leg of this medley, but she's got 3 other very strong strokes, so she'll try to give herself a great advantage. Hannah Aspden, a brilliant backstroker for the United States of America. You can see her there in lane 2 in that white hat that the Americans swim in the heats before switching to their black hats for the final. She had a great backstroke there, turned second. Sarai Gascon, the Spaniard, will look to use her breaststroke advantage to try and get back on level terms, maybe even ahead of Hannah Aspden down this breaststroke leg, to give herself a chance of getting a good position for the final, for the down that freestyle. But Sophia Konkley, again, looking strong, looking like she's set out with a plan, and she's sticking to it.
Yeah, she's going to be tough to beat, Sophia Konkley. She's really been dominating this event. Certainly, she just missed out from Sophie Pascoe last year, but she really moved this event on. Sophia Konkley. Sarai Gascon coming through into second position. She had a great career. She's got 6 World Championship gold medals, but none of them in this event, and that's a surprise, I think, to me, for Sarai Gascon, because she's such an all-rounder. She's never managed to nail the gold medal in this one. She won the silver medal in London in 2019. She is behind at the moment Sophia Konkley. A big gap from the Hungarian, who won the gold medal last year in Tokyo in the 100 butterfly, and looking very comfortable here as she comes home in first position in 2:36.20. Sarai Gascon will be in second position, just easing in there in 2:42.35. And a good close contest there for, well, that was a contest for 4th and 5th position. Hannah Aspden in 3rd, and it is Emma Medjic from Croatia in 4th position, ahead of Zuzana Boraszewska in 5th place. And Aspden, another swimmer who had great Tokyo Games, didn't she, winning that gold medal in the backstroke.
Yeah, she's shown promise for a number of years, and we've always been waiting for her to get that swim that gets her that gold medal, and it all came together for her in Tokyo. Swims very similar impairment to the great Stephanie Dixon of Canada, and she's got a similar backstroke as well. So we knew that she had the potential, and we saw that play out there in that medley event as well. And I think with Sarai Gascon, she started out all those years ago, back in 2006 World Championships, as a breaststroker, but then she moved away from the breaststroke, and her weakest leg is probably the backstroke, but now she seems to have been able to put them all together, all those years of experience, and we've seen her, like you said, featuring in this medley event.
All smiles from Konkley there at the end. That was a comfortable swim for her, 2:36. It's one of the fastest times of the year for Sophia Konkley. 2:36.20. Sarai Gascon in second position, with Hannah Aspden in third, and those top 3 should qualify for the final. Emma Micic might just miss out. I think she might just do that. Sophia Konkoly will lead them into that final in first place. The youngster from Spain, Dimitriv in second position. Great Britain's Tony Shaw in third place. And it's very, very tight for those minor places in terms of qualification. Hannah Aston does make it into the final in 8th position for the USA. Well, we're coming to the end of the programme, Liz. And, it's your favourite part of the session, the relays.
I love all the session, but you are right. I do love a relay. Bit of excitement coming. These mixed relays add a level of stress for a commentator.
We're only going to have to lose one team. And it's almost... it's interesting that none of the single-sex relays now in the programme is all mixed relays for all the classifications, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just opens it up to become more competitive, I think, because it does rely on you having the combinations available, and some of the smaller nations with less numbers then can't enter, whereas now that we've opened it up, so it's be 2 male, 2 female swimmers, still the same number of points as the total to field a team. So all 4 swimmers, their classification value cannot exceed the maximum number of points for a relay. So for this relay, for example, it's 20 points. So some athletes might swim 4 5s, some athletes might swim a 6, a 4 and 2 5s. You can swim with less than 20 points total, but you cannot swim with more.
Yeah, so it's kind of a 5 average for these ones, isn't it? So if you swim with a 6, you have to have a 4 or less. I think we're going to have some teams missing here, Liz, so... Lanes 0 and 1, we can't see USA, we can't see Germany in this one. Not sure if the Egyptian team are in lane 7. So it's just going to be almost a trial run for these swimmers. China have really dominated this event on the world stage in recent years. Brazil won the inaugural world title back in 2015 in Glasgow. And this event was first contested, but the Italians have dominated in terms of European medals.
Yeah, and as we said, different teams stack their event different ways. Great Britain have started with their strongest swimmer, their highest classification as 6, William Perry, and male. So he will look to get them off to a strong start. And he's going well in that white cap for Great Britain. Close us to your camera, it is Canada's Shelby Newkirk, also an S6 athlete. She's a female, so she'll be looking to come in well, strongly, as she hands over to Jacob Bradshaw, the S2 athlete for Canada in lane 8. But Great Britain have gone, they front-loaded their team, so they've got another S6 athlete, a female athlete this time, Maisie Summers-Newton, going down the freestyle leg for the early leaders, but the chase is on.
Yeah, they're coming up to the halfway point here. Great Britain have a good lead, the Brazilians, with Daniel Xavier Mendes coming through into second position. It's the Lyndon Longhorn now going in for Great Britain. He swims in the S4 classification and immediately being caught by the Brazilian with Da Silva Neves. We had a very good swim yesterday in the 50 freestyle, and she's shown her class there, one class above Lyndon Longhorn for Great Britain. But those two clear ahead of the others in this field. The Italians now down in third position, but they'll have Antonio Fantin on the final leg, just going ahead of the Spanish team as well. We have Fernandez Infante. Down to the last changeover, Brazil safely through. Silva Oliveira in the water now on that final leg, and Ellie Chalice on the last leg for the Great Britain team.
Yeah, so Ellie Chalice is an S3 athlete, so Great Britain started with their highest classification and finishing with their lowest classification swimmer. Italy did it the other way around, so they'll finish with their S. They sandwiched, so they've gone for an S6 at the end. Antonio Fantine will finish strongly, but it will be the Brazilians that take the touch in this heat.
Ellie Chalice still holding on to that second position as we just pan down the pool here. But Antonio Fantine coming back very strongly in the centre lane for Italy. And also the Greek team as well. But Ellie Chalice is going to come home for Great Britain. Fantine just strokes in there. Greece in 4th position. And in 5th place it looks like Spain. So a good performance from the Brazilians. In the outside lane, in lane number 9, looks like Gutierrez Bermudez from Mexico is going to bring them home. But Brazil, an America's record there in 2:23.75. They've got like quite a number of swimmers to choose from. Do you expect that team to change for the final tonight? It's quite a strong lineup, wasn't it, for Brazil?
Yeah, it is, and we've seen them before, and obviously this is the first time they're swimming without Daniel Diaz. So I think they looked comfortable. Nobody needed to give too much away. It's similar with the Italians. The Italians have got a really strong lineup there. They're missing Ariola Trimi, who's been such a powerhouse for them in the lower classification freestyle events. So we didn't learn too much, I don't think, about these relay teams here. And so, like we said, some nations are blessed with multiple combinations that they could use. But I would suspect that Italy will go with it again, because Antonio Fantine's already swam today. He's got the 100 freestyle final tonight. So if they could have subbed him with somebody else, then maybe they would have.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see what the lineups are for the final. We're just waiting for confirmation of the result. Always a nervous time, the result of a relay. So much can go wrong in the relays, not in terms of freestyle, really, probably a little less nervous. There's been no stroke infringements as such, but there's always a possibility of a changeover infringement in the relays. Brazil looking good though with that America's record, and they are confirmed in top spot. They will head to the final in 1st position. Great Britain in 2nd place, good performance for them this morning, and Italy in 3rd place. There's confirmation of the 7 finalists: Brazil, Great Britain, Italy, Greece, Spain, Mexico and Canada. Should be another cracking day of action, Liz, tonight. We're looking forward to that final.
Yeah, lots of finals, and finals that finish with a relay at the end of the session always add that, like you said, that level of anticipation, but drama, excitement. Relays bring it all, don't they?
Well, I think we've got another 24 world champions to crown tonight in day 2 of action finals. It's going to be another busy night, isn't it?
Yeah, but last night had so many close tussles, so many exciting races, that even though the session was very long, we had 26 finals decided, because one had been already decided in the morning for the 27 total. They went quite quickly. Well, I thought they went quite quickly.
They did. We had a good session. It's going to be a slightly shorter session tonight because we've got 3 less races and 3 less medal presentations. But it's going to be another exciting night. We saw Italy last night do very well. We saw Great Britain do very well last night. Can they continue that good run? Italy topped the medal table after day 1, 30 medals in total, 6 gold medals. Great Britain, well, they had a clean sweep of 1, 2, 3 in the S14 women 200 freestyle last night, but every other medal they won was gold. USA, 3 gold medals last night ahead of Brazil. Mexico, Croatia and Cyprus there with the silver medals, and Greece, gold medals, sorry. And Greece with Zapatakis winning that great breaststroke gold last night. Fantastic race that was. A number of other countries getting on the medal podium as well. As we just scroll through, Germany with a good chance for gold medal tonight. A couple of gold medals possibly for the Germans. And countries on the medal board early in the session: Belgium, Ireland, Malaysia, Switzerland, Slovakia and Uzbekistan. No medal for the host nation yet, but they will have chances as the week progresses. Always good to see a Portuguese medal at their home championships. Well, that's the final action for this morning's session. It's been a good morning of action for day 2 here in Madeira. We will be back for session 4, day 2 of finals tonight. It is 5 o'clock, 1700 hours local time here in Funchal. It's going to be another great night, so please join us then. See you later.